autumn powerhouse fragrances for men. So there's quite a lot of very strong autumn-ish fragrances for men. But I've compiled a small list of ones that I think are the strongest and the most fitting for autumn. And I'm going to start with one that I currently don't have, but I know quite well. It's called Reserve Prive from Givenchy, specifically the Eau de Parfum. So this is kind of a favorite of mine, at least in the realm of men's fragrances. It is a really delicious kind of whiskey, boozy sort of fragrance. And I believe I read that the brand Givenchy, they actually used actual grain. Obviously whiskey is made with grain. Actual grain that they would use to make whiskey in this fragrance. So it does have this authentic, fine whiskey smell. Of course, it doesn't smell exactly like whiskey, but that is the main note. It also has some other very, very fine notes like iris and chestnut and things like that. So it's extremely well balanced. The iris gives it a little bit of sweetness, so it's not too harsh with that whiskey note. Really delicious fragrance. I would say it's obviously very, very warm for the autumn. Great longevity. I would say 8 to 10 hours, like a long time, all day. It is great for, you know, just wearing a nice cozy fragrance throughout the day. But I would also say it's really good for formal occasions, like maybe you want to go to a nice dinner or something, you know, somewhere nice. This is a really good option for that because it has a distinguished sort of smell. You know, it doesn't smell immature, it doesn't smell cheap, it smells very fine, very elegant for a man. So this one's high on my list just in general for men's fragrances, especially for the autumn, because again, it is very warm. Then, the next one I would say is actually another one of my favorites. This is Dior Intense. This is great. This is, so first of all, longevity, I would again say 8 to 10 hours, you know, very good, reliable, strong fragrance, warm. This has also iris, like the other one. It also has a unique note called ambrette or musk mallows, which gives it a pretty unique musky wash tone to it. Also, it has a little bit of vetiver, a little bit of cedar, and a little bit of lavender. So you're primarily getting this pretty aromatic sort of men's fragrance, and it's just nice. The iris, I would say, it's very gentle sweetness. Also gives it a little bit of, I would almost say, creaminess or butteriness. It's very smooth, not sugary sweet or anything, just kind of that natural sweetness of that floral note, the iris, mixed with, of course, the much heavier notes like the vetiver and the cedar and things like that. So this is a really great option. I would say a little bit lighter, not in longevity, but just in how it smells, a little bit lighter compared to Givenchy's Gentleman Reserve Prive. This is also just kind of like a little bit of a different vibe as well, but definitely still good for autumn. Probably a little bit more of an evening fragrance because it just kind of has maybe a bit more formal smell, but definitely also a good option for the daytime, especially once it gets colder and colder. Then the next one I have to mention, just because I think this is interesting, this is Replica Jazz Club. So the thing I like about this is it's supposed to be reminiscent of a jazz club. You know, you walk in, there's the tobacco smoke, there's a little bit of whiskey, there's this and that. So this is what you get. There's the tobacco notes, like I said, there's the boozy notes, and in general, this is a pretty heavy fragrance. And at the same time, this is definitely something unique. It has similar notes to some other fragrances, but it's kind of in its own category, you know, because it's another kind of one of those smooth fragrances, because like I said, with the tobacco notes, they're very smooth. A lot of times, tobacco fragrances are a little bit too harsh, too much, but this is very nicely balanced, mixed with the kind of, I can't remember if it's whiskey or rum, but definitely one of those more alcoholic notes. Again, very smooth. It's not sharp. It's not gonna punch you in the face. It's more kind of a velvety, again, smooth fragrance. So longevity on this, I would say a little bit less, maybe 7 to 8 hours, but still, you know, quite reliable, quite long lasting. So very good option, especially if you prefer, you know, what a jazz club smells like. So the next one that I have on my list, this one's actually unisex. This is Oud Satin Mood. This is Oud Satin Mood. I love this one. This is extremely luxurious, very warm and cozy. The main notes here are Turkish rose mixed with oud, which is a very musky, warm type of wood. And the thing about this fragrance is that with those two main notes, there are a few others, but those are like the heart of the whole fragrance. Such a good blend and balance between them, because obviously you get this kind of natural sweetness from the rose, mixed with the muskiness and heaviness of the oud. Oud alone is very strong. Some people find it a little bit overwhelming, but it is a very rich, both literally and figuratively, rich sort of note and commodity. It is pretty potent. Like, as soon as you smell oud, you can immediately recognize it because it's so unique. Then that really heavy note mixed with the roses, perfect balance. Longevity on this, I would say 10 hours. Maybe 9, but you know, between that 9 and 10 definitely. And again, it's unisex, so an extra bonus there. Then the last one that I have is a very, very strong one. This is Tod Color from Dior. Tod Color is, as you can imagine from the name, one of the most prominent tobacco fragrances you can get at the moment. It is very modern, very sleek, very distinguishable. As soon as you smell it, you know what you're smelling. It is probably one of the best tobacco fragrances that I've come across. Because as I said before, a lot of times tobacco fragrances are a little bit too harsh and too smoky. But this is more like a distant smokiness, or like you light a very nice cigar. It has all these different notes, kind of a little bit grassy, a little bit dry, a little bit musky. So you have all these different notes within the tobacco, and it's just really nice. It's more of a mysterious fragrance, just naturally smoky, like that. And it's also very strong. I would say 10 hours. Definitely something you can rely on, and definitely something that will warm you up when it starts getting cold for the autumn. But those are my main choices for autumn powerhouse fragrances. So if you have anything to say about these, you can always leave those down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.